Raptors make it 5 in a row as they beat the Wizards in Washington 109-100. A little payback for the opening night loss. I'm Randy Urban, and this is Raptors Night Cap. Tonight, we're joined by Paul Jones, Sherman Hamilton, and Leo Rautins. Guys, Raps make it 5 in a row, and for the first time in franchise history, they opened 4-0 on the road. How impressed were you, Sherm, by this win?
Well, I was very impressed. And again, I mean, this is a team that's showing us that they can win in multiple ways. And in this game, I thought they got off to a solid start. They did the things that were going to give them a chance to take control of this game early. They rebounded. They didn't allow Washington to dominate their paint. I thought the Raptors did a good job in terms of figuring it out offensively early in this game. And from a defensive perspective, they held the Wizards down. And of course, throughout the course of the game, the Wizards are going to make a push, but the Raptors never broke. They bent a little at times, but they stayed with it and they never broke. And I thought that Fred VanVleet was excellent in this game. I thought OG was excellent. Khem Birch, again, forget the stat line. His impact was phenomenal. But this team is winning in different ways, and this is what's so impressive. And it's great that they're stockpiling these wins on the road. But if you're a good road team, you have a chance to be very good in this league. So it's interesting to see how this plays out. 9 of the next 12 for the Raptors are on the road. So let's see how they continue to operate on the road.
Leo, I thought the last win was big time, but this one, same thing. Like going into Washington, Washington's a good team.
Well, they're a good team, but let's put a perspective on this. We're seeing, people have been raving about New York. The Raptors went there and won. There's a lot of good records right now. Okay. I don't know how good some of these teams are yet. We don't know. It's early. It's way too early. Just like people were judging the Raptors after the first week. It's early in the season and things are going to play out. But you have to love the things the Raptors are doing. Sherm talked about a lot of positives. Defensively, you got every guy that's playing is locked in. Everybody's coming in. Everybody's doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Offensively, different guys are stepping up at different times. They're getting that great leadership from Fred. And it's interesting because just like, again, at the beginning, people were questioning the Raptors. A lot of people were questioning Fred at the beginning too. And all Fred was doing is feeling this whole thing out, right? Feeling the whole thing out, getting used to everybody, finding out who can do what, and getting everybody on the same page. And game by game, you're seeing more of that, and Fred's game's just going through the roof. But, again, we shouldn't be surprised because he played at an all-star level when Kyle Lowry wasn't in the game or was out with injuries playing with the Raptors. And he certainly proved himself, and that was one of the reasons Masai and Bobby felt that they could move Kyle because they had Fred. So he's living up to everything right now.
Yeah, Jonesy, let's expand on that a little bit. This was clearly Fred's best game of the season so far. I know he's had, more rebounds and more assists than some of the others, but what did you like?
Well, to Leo's point, he's figuring it out. He needs to learn. He knows what he can do, and he's taken that and he's put it on the back burner. He can always go to that. A good point guard gets other people involved and always has his own scoring in the back pocket and can pull it out when it's needed. You saw Fred do that tonight, and he's kind of figuring out how to run the pulse of the offense, where to try to get Precious the ball, how to deal with Khem when he's on the floor with him, how to get OG going. Okay, I'm on the floor now with Delano. He's going to handle it. Fred's the guy that is kind of figuring it all out on the floor. And you've seen the last couple of games, he's done that. And listen, the one thing that's constant, while your defense is ahead of your offense early in the year, and they're starting to figure out the offense now, I've been really impressed with the defense. Here's another game where they forced turnovers, not as many as normal. They usually force about 20 a game, 13 tonight, but they still get 10 more field goal attempts than Washington. Mm-hmm. The Wizards destroyed them in the paint on opening night. We talked about that. Tonight, Washington, who averages 50.9, almost 51 points in the paint, number 2 in the NBA, 40. If you keep a team to its average or below, you have a chance to win. You're going to win if it's well below. Washington, 14 three-pointers, being undefeated at home this year. How many tonight? 8. So all of these things, the defense is going to be there. And the offense they're figuring out behind Fred kind of leading the way. And man, I got to tell you, I still got to give credit to Nick. Throws Malachi in there for a few minutes. Throws Justin Champagny in there. Like, guys are hungry. They'll give you a few hard minutes. And Randy, it goes back to when I went to Vegas to Summer League. When I was getting there for the last 3 days of it, Nick was on his way out because he had other commitments. And I saw him in the airport, and he said, man, Jonesy, I'm excited. He said, I don't know how our offense is going to be early. We're going to have to figure that out. But I will tell you one thing. We're going to play hard, and we're going to guard you. And that is exactly how it's playing out right now. And here they are, winners of 5 in a row. And as Sherm said, 4 of those, 4-0 on the road. To Leo's point, a lot of good records early, but let's see how it goes. Sometimes teams that end up being not so great teams don't know that at the beginning of the year, and they kind of play over their head. Let's see how it goes when it's all fleshed out.
Yeah, Sherm, the defense, the teams are just scraping that 100-point barrier. You know, tonight, the 100 points by Washington, they're like 99 and 100 where, you know, the ball gets tipped 20 feet in the air and falls through the rim. Like, this was another game where it was almost under 100. It's just really, really impressive. And when they do lock in on defense, you can see it. It's everybody's on a string. But what specifically are you noticing that's making their defense, when they are locked in fully, so effective?
It's the activity. It's the multiple efforts per possession that we're seeing. You know, it's one thing to be a team that creates steals and turnovers, because sometimes, you know, that's a smoke and mirrors kind of defense. You know, you're going for steals, but you're compromising your defense. You might get 12 steals in a game, but the other 20 that you missed have created baskets for the opposing team. But this is not that team. They're not going for steals. They're creating turnovers, and there's a difference there. And, you know, when you're picking the ball and when a teammate goes for a steal and he misses it, you're seeing the next man rotate. You're seeing guys communicate. They're on that string, and they're continually doing it. And per possession, if you watch the multiple efforts that are made on the defensive end, it's really impressive. That takes commitment. That takes buy-in. That takes a lot of energy. And they are doing it consistently. So it's impressive to watch. And you know, it's coming from some unexpected places, like a guy like Gary Trent Jr. I didn't expect this kind of activity in terms of creating turnovers and being this good on the defensive end. So it's refreshing to see. And I love the defensive side of the basketball. So some people want to see 135 to 140 points per game. I don't mind a 100-point game and watching defense being executed at a high level like we're seeing by the Raptors right now.
I'm with you on that, Sherm. I know Leo's not. He loves the scoring. So let's go back to the the scoring part of the game. OG dominant again at times. For me, it's just so fun to see how fluid, Leo, his offensive game has become.
Well, you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing the guys just really comfortable and there's no panic, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's saying, okay, you know, he was quiet, but look when he woke up. First of all, the defense is there. And then he hits this game-tying 3 at the end of the first quarter. And then what does he do at the start of the second quarter? He gets active, right? And the Raptors break the game open a little bit. So, you know, he's really become that guy. How many late clock buckets in the second half, right? He's becoming that guy that is going to get you something when you need it. So it's fun to watch. I mean, he's just very comfortable. He's not pressing. He's picking his spots. When he gets it going, he goes a little bit more, like riding the hot hand. When it's somebody else is going, he's not forcing his game in. There's just a lot of maturity and comfortability and confidence. You know, so it's really fun to watch because we've been watching this guy grow over the years, and he's had setbacks that have kind of stalled him a little bit. And as much as we like what we see, I think it's going to keep getting better, guys.
Mm-hmm. Jonesy, what was the call like on that Achiuwa dunk in the third? That was crazy.
Well, it was great for Precious because look, he struggled. He missed a couple of layups, and you know, you can't have a guy lose confidence. I mean, there's people out there saying, you know, you got to take him out of the lineup, or you got to make a change in the starting lineup. And I think it's the exact opposite. You might shorten the leash a little bit, but you don't want to take his confidence away. You want him to keep trying to grow. And Randy, we know this. We know this whether you're changing your golf swing, or you're changing your shot, or you start new procedures in a classroom as a teacher. It's called the implementation dip. When you're doing something new, it gets worse before it gets better. And this kid was in Miami, and you got to know that there's no way Eric Spoelstra is letting him dribble the ball up the court and kind of be as thirsty as he was. And he comes to Toronto, and Nick's like, no, we want you to do that. And here's the contrast. Last year, Kem Birch had that in him, but he wasn't allowed to do it in Orlando, and he got out of the box in Toronto, and he showed. It's new for Precious. He's a second-year player. Kem was a veteran. So give the kid some time. It's not great right now all the time, but as tough as some people thought it was tonight, he still gave you 10 rebounds. He still gave you 4 assists. That's a quarter of the rebounds and a quarter of the assists tonight. And he missed a couple of chippies, or else he'd have had a double-figure scoring game. So, you know what? Hang with him and let him grow through it. And I just love his activity, and he still rebounds, and he's not letting that impact all of the other parts of his game.
Sure, I'm just about a minute to go. When I look at him, it looks like he could be our version of a Montrezl Harrell with a little bit more skill, a little bit more ball handling, maybe more able to step out and hit a three.
It's possible, no question about it. I mean, the young man has shown the ability to handle the ball. The decisions with the ball have been a bit of a question, but I mean, from a skill set perspective, he has a lot of room to grow. He can get better in a lot of areas, but he's got a motor. And I think when you have a motor and you can play that hard and you can go that hard, especially on the defensive end and on the glass, you know, some of those things are going to translate over time when you put the work into the offensive end. Right now, he's just in a bit of a funky space offensively. You know, he's probably been told to rein it back offensively, move the basketball, and then when his opportunity comes, he's probably second-guessing himself. He's just got to figure out more of a common ground to be in, take advantage of his opportunities when they present themselves, and don't force it. That's the biggest thing. He looked like he was forcing it over the last few games. Let it come to him.
All right, let's give the people at home a little overtime again, guys. Leo, I want to know this from you. Are you going to read Scottie Pippen's memoir?
No, because what I've already read or heard is a bunch of garbage. So no, I'm not going to waste my time. If Scottie Pippen doesn't understand that he would not be Scottie Pippen without Michael, I have nothing to say.
Jonesy?
Look, as great as Scottie was, I think Michael could have found another running mate if he needed to, right?
100%.
You know,
sure.
that's Leo's point. That's Leo's point, and it's mine too. Scottie was great. He was terrific, but
if Scottie ain't finding another MJ, that's not happening.
No, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. So,
Sure. You could have been
2 words. Michael Jordan.
That's it. All right. I appreciate you guys doing this. I'm going to stop you there. Next game for the Raptors, Friday night back at Scotiabank Arena, 7:30 p.m. Eastern against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We will see you then.